back to the channel. Today I just finished unloading the ambulance off of the trailer. So what I'm going to be doing is picking up another truck. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the truck. It has a lift, it has wheels, which I'm going to end up using on the ambulance, but I may end up also fixing the truck. It says it needs a turbo because it's just dumping oil out of the exhaust. It's a 6.4, it's an 08, just like the van, but you know the 6.4s, it could have a melted piston, it could be a turbo, it could be a bunch of things. So let's head up to Colorado Springs. I also need to go to their bank because they don't have the title in hand, and we'll just kind of go from there. Just loaded the truck up. I loaded the truck up over at their house, but now I'm over at a Target. They sent me to the wrong place because we need to go to their credit union so I can get the title for the truck. But the one thing I wanted this thing for, other than I might fix it and sell it, so the 6.4 in it doesn't run. What's new? But it has a rough country lift, so it has the shocks, leaf springs, the blocks. It also has the springs, the shocks up front. It has the lowered arm right there, and we got wheels. Yesterday I got the truck home, and last night I charged both batteries, so I think they're both charged and ready to go. So what I think is wrong with the truck, we're gonna try to get this thing started. I have some starting fluid, but I think the injection pump is bad. So looking under here, you can see there's a bunch of oil all over the front of the engine, the front cross member, and that's pretty much the extent of it. So on these, usually if there's a bunch of oil in the front, off the front cover, it usually means the injection pump has failed or is failing. But since this doesn't start, and they just put 8 brand new injectors in it, which was like $3,800, I'm guessing that's probably what it's going to be. We'll put a scanner on it if it doesn't start on starting fluid. If it starts on starting fluid, it probably means it's the injection pump. So let's get the batteries back in here, try to fire her up, and hopefully she starts up. I'm really hoping. Oh, also, it looked like it was a little low on oil. It's probably because it's leaking off the front cover. I'm going to put oil in it before I try to start her, so we don't have any extra issues. She was almost a gallon low on engine oil. I put pretty much that whole thing of 1540 Rotella in there, which is actually overfilled because I added some from another jug. But what I'm gonna do now is spray some starting fluid. I already pulled the air box and the air filter. Oh, she sounds good. That's kind of scary. What was that? Is she trying to run away or what? Or is that the high idle? Reduced engine power. I wonder if it just has a plugged DPF. I can't believe it actually runs. And it's not smoking or anything. I mean, it sounds good. I'm gonna put the air filter back in it and pull it off the trailer, I guess. Yeah, she runs, drives. I don't know, maybe one of the turbos is bad. So it just started smoking and it feels really low on power. So I'm not sure. Maybe it could just be one of the turbos. I'll have to pull the intakes and everything, check the shaft play, but it just sounds really weird when you rev it. So let's give her a rev, give you. See, it doesn't really sound like it's. It doesn't really sound like it's building good boost. Now it's kind of hiccuping. Hear it? I'll have to put a scanner on it. Just picked up oil to change the oil on my 17 and the 2008 Powerstroke, and I got both filters, so let's head home. Trevor also let me borrow the scan tool so I can see what the check engine light is. Finished changing the oil in my 17 F350. Now I'm going to change the oil in the 6.4, and I also have Trevor's scan tool, so once I'm done changing the oil, I will scan it, figure out what's wrong with it. I'm pretty sure it's turbos just because it just feels like a dog, and I need to probably look at the boost gauge when I pull it into the driveway, but I'm probably like 75% sure that the turbos are bad. First thing I always do is pull the filter out, and I can see why the turbos went bad. I don't know how many miles this oil has on it, but look at the filter. It is literally just sludge. Look at that. The cap too, I'm gonna clean all this out. Actually, it actually looks like the, I wonder if that's the top. I think the filter element came apart. Interesting. Yeah, that might be a defect in the filter element. That's interesting. I wonder what kind of filter this was. I'll clean it up and find out, but yeah, it looks like it's what happened with my Volvo. The glue came undone. You could feel the glue chips, and I bet it was just bypassing it the whole time. So it'll be interesting to drain the oil out of the pan. I have a clean pan, so I guess we'll see if there's any metal shavings. It sounds good. It doesn't sound like it's knocking or anything. And I'll also clean the filter housing up so we don't have any of that sludge in there anymore. And then the cap as well. I think I'll have to pop that out because I think that's actually separated. So yeah, I think that might be an issue right there by itself, and then that's probably why the turbos are bad on this thing. Cleaned the oil filter housing all the way up, got all the sludge out of it. New filter, Motorcraft filter, always use these in Fords. And also I spent probably 30 minutes cleaning the whole oil filter housing out. O'Reilly brake cleaner is kind of not that good. Don't get it. You can't spray the can upside down. It doesn't, like, you can spray it like once, but it doesn't work. So yeah, they're kind of, I wouldn't recommend those. And let's get the filter in here and see what's in the pan. I just finished changing the oil, and I'm guessing that oil filter that exploded pretty much is the reason the turbos are bad. So as I said before, it's not building any boost, and usually these 6.4 turbos go out anyway. I think it's a low pressure one, but it feels like both of them are out. So what I'm gonna end up doing is probably tearing the turbos out of it and either upgrading the turbo, maybe doing a stock rebuild with billet wheels and delete the DPF. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I also want to check the codes really quick. So I'm gonna fire it up, let it build oil pressure, and then grab the scanner, and this will help me back out a little bit better. But yeah, and then we could figure out what check engine lights. It didn't look like there was any bearing material, any flakes or anything like that at all in the oil. So that's a plus. I had the same exact issue with my Volvo. Like I said, a Bosch filter pretty much did the same exact thing. It was a cartridge filter, came apart like that, and it just, you know, all that glue and material just gets plugged up in the turbo feed, and then there's no oil going to the turbo, makes them go out. So let's fire this up and then give her a scan and kind of go from there. Just read the codes, and all of them have to do with the diesel particulate filter, or the DPF. So it looks like it's plugged up. Could be why it's not building boost. I'm pretty sure that the turbo, one of the turbos or both the turbos are also bad, just because that oil filter, we might be okay with them, but what I know about those oil filters blowing up like that and it not filtering the oil is usually it ends up having an issue with the turbochargers, because they just get full of just debris because there's no filtered oil going to them. So yeah, I'm just gonna clear these. It also looked like there was a cylinder 2 Misfire, but when it was running, it just had a hiccup as well every once in a while. So I'm guessing that could be because the DPF is getting clogged, or maybe it thinks the DPF is clogged because the turbo is bad. So I'm gonna do a contribution balance test on this thing. Doing a power balance test, and everything looks pretty consistent. It doesn't look like there's any huge fluctuations. I'm guessing what's really going on is the turbocharger or turbochargers and the DPF are just, the DPF's clogged, turbochargers are bad. It doesn't sound like I'm getting a boost. It doesn't sound like it's spooling or anything like that. So I'm gonna clear the codes. Seems like the engine's good. Doesn't seem like there's a hole in the piston or anything like that. I'm gonna end the video here. I'm really happy that this truck actually runs and drives. I'm gonna end up getting new tires for these wheels. I actually like these wheels and I like the lift. So the original plan was to take the lift and the wheels off, put them on the van, and then just put a stock springs and stock suspension, stock wheels on this truck, fix it, and then sell it. But now that it runs pretty decent and all I have to do is delete the DPF and probably replace some turbos, I might, and it's a pretty clean truck, so I might just end up putting new tires on these wheels, maybe upgrading the turbocharger, and then just getting rid of the DPF, put a straight pipe in there, and just delete that, because DPF on these things is a really big issue. Even keeping the EGR and deleting the DPF system is a big upgrade, because these things have just tons of issues because they dump extra fuel into the engine and then it washes the cylinder walls. So I'm gonna just eliminate that issue. But for now, we got a running and driving truck just with bad turbos and really bad tires. I wish the turbos were good so I could do a nasty fat burn off, but I guess we'll have to do that in the next couple episodes before I get new tires. But if you like these videos, make sure you click the subscribe button, thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.